meeting to order. And I already need to find my place. Welcome to the regular board meeting, June 29th, 2021. And if you would stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and roll call, please, Ms. Munger.
Everyone is present.
All right, and we will move into agenda item number 5, which is the superintendent's report. Dr. DePonio.
Did we skip 4?
Audience. Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, we did, and not on purpose. Thank you. All right, audience participation. I know we have 2 that we're calling in. Do we have anyone in the room that wanted to do audience participation? If you'd like to come to the podium microphone and speak, be happy to have you.
I'm very happy we did the pledge. It seems like so many places in the U.S. is looking the other way at that.
Right.
I'm new to the area.
Let me just stop you for a minute. I'm sorry. I should have asked you to introduce yourself with name and address, please.
Okay, I'm Cliff Garrett. 459 Lake Street. Enjoying the canal there and really enjoy Lake Shores. It's a beautiful place. I was just curious because I have kids growing up here in Michigan or grandkids and wanted to know a little bit about the international program. I've never seen something like that. I mean, when I was in school, it was called foreign exchange, and people stayed at people's homes and shared culture and all that. It's much different to me. So, and then I wanted to know where your stand were on critical race theory, 1619 project, and white vigilante and those things.
Okay. All right. So the way the board meeting works is that this isn't really going to be an interactive time, so I'm not going to actually discuss and converse with you on those topics, but I am going to ask our superintendent to get a hold of you and have that conversation. Okay. And certainly if you needed to return to the board, you're always welcome to do that as part of audience participation. All right. Welcome. All right. And I believe we have 2 callers. I'm not sure if we're connected with them yet. Neither called in. Okay, so you'll let us know if they do. Maybe we can circle back. All right, thank you. All right, now agenda item number 5, superintendent's report.
All right, I
muted myself.
You're muted. I think you have to mute turn off your microphone. Oh, how about this? There we go. All right. All right. I just have a handful of things that to report on today. We've begun our summer programming. It's going on in earnest at this point. I believe we have upwards of 500 students, somewhere between 500 and 600 students that are participating in our summer program. And these programs are both academic and enrichment. A lot of kids involved, a lot of smiles, a lot of laughter. And as I shared with the board before, our goal for this next school year coming up is measuring our success in terms of laughter and smiles. As we re-engage our kids and we get them back on board with a normal school year, we want to start off with capturing their hearts, and their minds will certainly follow. And I think we're off to a great start. We've got a great staff, and the programming is second to none. The summer packets that we've sent home is so much more than, a suggested reading list or, some couple different books. A lot of stuff to get kids unplugged and get them engaged. So far, we're very pleased with how our summer programming has begun. Tonight, Pete's going to share with you a budget for actually the budget that concludes this school year, but also our budget for next school year, which will demonstrate the largest single effort in Lakeshore history of programming that we've not seen in the past, support that we've not seen in the past. And I think that this is going to be a testament to what we're capable of doing when there's adequate funding involved. This budget also proudly puts our staff at the highest pay level that they've had in the history of the district. And we continue that goal of advancing our people forward on the pay scale and doing so reasonably. And I think you'll see again, and I don't want to steal too much of Pete's thunder here, but it maintains our fund balance at a very safe area. So it takes into consideration the need for supporting our kids, the need for having a competitive wage for our staff, and the need for financial stability within the district. I want to thank the foundation for a wonderful golf outing yesterday. Was that yesterday? That was yesterday. It was a great opportunity for a lot of people to get back together again. It was a wonderful event, first rate all the way. A lot of fun there. And then of course, graduation was a nice event as well. Wasn't the same not being at the stadium, but Jimmy John's was pretty cool as well. So that's all I have to report for this evening, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
For the summer camp program, what's the mask policy? Is it recommended?
Yeah,
Not required?
so right now, if you notice when you walk in, all of our COVID-related safety protocols have been suspended. The current guidance from the Macomb County Health Department is that while indoors, masks are recommended, but they are not required. And so this leaves it to both our staff and our students and our families the option. And of course, they strongly encourage being vaccinated. But at this particular point, as we continue to monitor the presence of COVID in the county, it's almost non-existent. I think this particular week, there was a day that there were 3 cases on one particular day.
Okay.
So in terms of masks are not required. They are recommended indoors.
Because there was something on Facebook about it, someone that I'm friends with, and they were saying that we were enforcing it. I said that was not my understanding. Recommended, because
Right.
it would be up to you if you'd like
Correct.
your child to wear. So that's why I just wanted to clarify to make sure that I was correct and
You are
what I had
correct.
heard
Yes.
prior.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Any other questions?
Joe, have we gotten a sense of, and I don't want to phrase this in a negative way when I say the word gap, but just from, like the impacts of COVID, do we have any sense of a quantification of a significant, like kids that are behind on track to graduate, behind on credits? I know we mentioned we've got a lot of really great recovery programs coming,
Yeah.
that we've been doing since the school year and throughout the summer, but do we, just getting a little bit of a sense of, what it is that we're actually trying to address and like the size and scope.
Certainly.
Do we have an idea what that looks like?
Yeah. So, and Rochelle, I'm going to let you speak a little bit about the results that we saw with NWEA, but we did see an increase in situations where high school freshmen failed classes pretty significantly. And so that's going to be something that we're going to be tackling. Actually, we've already begun. And so as a part of the personnel report today, Cindy Sam has already begun compiling. I mean, she's got the list of every student that was not here full time this year. She's got the list of every student that was not here at all this year. And she's got a list of all of the kids that struggled academically throughout the year. And so she's creating, I guess, what you could call a war room over at the adult ed building. And we're going to be monitoring these students' progress throughout the year on a weekly basis to begin, so that at the first sign of struggle with these children, that we put, either high dosage tutoring or some sort of supplemental support for these kids right out of the gate, because we don't want to wait, until the end of the quarter or the end of the semester. If we know that a student is struggling after the first week of school, we're going to have some opportunity for help. But the good news is,
So the good news is that you guys remember part of our return to learn in the legislative additional requirements was that we were progress monitoring our students and using that for data. That's part of our transparency report. It's posted near. So we chose as a district to be looking at this actual cohort. So they're testing coming in compared to those actual students testing at the end of the year. So it wasn't a comparison of previous years. It's actually our students this year. We saw, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I believe it was just under 6% percentile proficiency growth in math overall as a district. Of course, that's up and down at different grades, right? But overall as a district. And then for literacy, it was about 3%. The math is significant because students have to do the math more on their own. There's less likely for help, just the way things are phrased, and that's always a concern coming in. We were concerned with the math scores coming in. They were lower, when we judged pandemic, just like they have been everywhere. So I think teachers really took that to heart when they saw that data and they worked on it. So to go along with what Joe said about some things we've identified, which are increased credit deficiencies for 9th grade students, we also did not have a year where everyone was required to test. We were held harmless for that. So even our MSTEP scores, we didn't have a significant number of students that didn't meet the 3rd grade reading requirement, but also some of our most vulnerable or the students who were not participating with us did not participate in the assessments. So we know what we have to deal with based on the data we have right now. We have plans in place for that, but we also know there's going to be a lot of when they come in at the beginning of the year, already the systems in place to support those students because we're going to get more data on where we're at. So if freshmen are able to do credit recovery this summer and they participate in that and they're successful, that's a different conversation, right? When they start 10th grade. So some of this we know, but some of this really is going to be an ongoing process, which is why we have all of these different things in place, because we'll continue to know and get a better idea even as we progress through next year.
Thank you.
anything else? Okay.
All right.
Turn my microphone off there.
All right. And for those that are watching remotely or even in the audience, I apologize for the pauses, but we're jumping between, our microphones for the audience that's not in the room, the microphones that are in the room, the multiple screens that we look at. So just bear with me is all I'm asking. All right. Agenda item 6, items for action. We'll start with 6A, the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Okay, motion by Mr. Densler, supported by Mr. Colling. Any questions or comments? Okay. There being none, we're going to continue roll call votes. Just humor me, another meeting. Eventually we'll grow back into the normal.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mr. Colling,
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
and Mrs. Bartle.
All right. Agenda item 6B is recognition of tenured teachers. Dr. Lewis.
I see, Madam President, that 6B is the personnel report.
6B.
And great. I miss larger monitors. All right, personnel report. It is still you, Dr.
All
Lewis.
right. Move to approve the following personnel report. Non-unit, move to accept the appointment of Cindy Sam, Principal Rogers Elementary, to the Director of Student Assistance and Recovery, effective July 1st, 2021. She will remain at ASG 17B, Step 7 on the non-unit administrative salary grid. Move to accept the employment of Shelley Larson, Accountant, Business Office, effective July 19th, 2021, ASG 13, Step 2. William Pawlowski, Dean of Students, Lakeshore High School, effective August 9th, 2021. He joined Lakeshore in August of 2003, and he is currently a phys ed teacher at Lakeshore High School. He'll be placed at ASG 13, Step 1. Donna Werthmeyer, Payroll Business Office effective June 1st, 2021, ASC 35, Step 6. AFSCME Local 1217, Andrea Shu, move to accept the employment of Andrea Shu, afternoon custodian, Rogers Elementary, effective June 7th, 2021, AFSCME custodial salary, Step 1. Lakeshore Federation of Support Staff, move to accept the resignation of Billy Wilson, remedial specialist, Kennedy Middle School, effective August 31st, 2021. Lakeshore Federation of Teachers, move to accept the resignation or retirement of Dawn Blaskowski, math teacher, Kennedy Middle School, resignation effective June 18th, 2021. Justin Fott, science teacher, Lakeshore High School, resignation effective September 1st, 2021. Deborah Krusman, Spanish teacher, Lakeshore High School, resignation effective June 27th, 2021. Shelby O'Connor, elementary teacher, Masonic Heights, resignation effective June 21st, 2021. Will Pawlowski, physical education teacher at Lakeshore High School, resignation effective August 8th, 2021. Lauren Seeley, speech and language pathologist, Masonic Heights, resignation effective June 18th, 2021. Deanna Snay, special education resource room teacher at Kennedy Middle School, retirement effective June 18th, 2021, after 24 years of service. Jan Tamer, science teacher, Kennedy Middle School, retirement effective June 30th, 2021, after 25 years of service. I ask that you accept the employment of Haley Cressa, elementary teacher, Masonic Heights Elementary, effective September 1st, 2021, BA Step 2. Lauren D'Ambrosio, elementary teacher, Masonic Heights, effective September 1st, BA Step 2. Laura Gray, special education resource room teacher at Masonic Heights and Rogers, effective September 1st, 2021, MA Step 3. Carolyn Habrowski, elementary teacher, Masonic Heights, effective September 1st, 2021, BA Step 2. Sloan Leppin, elementary teacher, Rogers, effective September 1st, 2021, MA Step 3. Doreen Taylor, special education teacher, ECSC, MOSI, Rogers, effective September 1st, 2021, MA Step 14. Shane Trail, elementary teacher, Rogers, effective September 1st, BA Step 2. Billy Wilson, elementary teacher, Rogers, effective September 1st, BA Step 2.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Motion by Mrs. Long, supported by Mr. Colling. Anyone with comments or questions? All right. Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Densler.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger. Aye. Mrs. DeLong.
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas Alfagel.
Aye.
And Mr. Collins.
Aye.
All right. Dr. Lewis, I know we have some people in the room.
Yes, we do have two of our new staff. I'd like to introduce you to Shane Trail. Shane, if you'd like to stand up so that everybody can see you. Shane is a graduate from Wayne State University. He graduated in May. And previously, he served our country in the United States Navy. So we are happy to have him serving our students right here in Lakeshore at Rogers Elementary. Welcome, Shane. And yes. And also, Sloan Leppin. Sloan is going to be working with Shane at Rogers Elementary. Your partners. Sloan is a graduate of Eastern Michigan University, where she earned her bachelor's. And then she attended the University of Michigan, where she had her master's degree. She comes to Lakeshore with 4 years of demonstrated leadership experience, servant leadership experience in her prior school, and we're happy to have her as a part of our team here in Lakeshore. So welcome, Sloan. And to all the staff that, Will. Will, if you Will, I have and of course, we have Will Pawlowski, who is an institution at Lakeshore High School. Our head football coach served in our PE department since 2012. Is that Will? 2010, a little bit longer than that, so more than a decade. So we're very proud to have him as our new dean of students at Lakeshore High School. So let's give a round of applause to him. And I do know we have several of our new staff members and our retirees that are watching online. So we'd like to thank them for their service, and we'd like to welcome our new staff to Lakeshore.
Absolutely. It is a long list when we hit these summer months. It was a little bit shorter when I realized that some of the resignations also went into the new positions. So
That's correct.
anyway, we appreciate those that are joining us, and certainly those that are departing from us. We wish you well. The years of service for some of our retirees always amaze me. I haven't been on a job to ever, or will I ever get to say I've had 25 years of service anywhere. So it's a compliment to Lakeshore to have someone stay so long, and it is certainly creates a situation where people will be missed. So all the best to our resignations and retirees. All right, agenda item 6C, recognition of tenured teachers, also Dr. Lewis.
I ask that the board approve the following individuals who have acquired tenure in compliance with the State of Michigan Teacher Tenure Act. At Masonic Heights Elementary, Alexa Materna. At Violet Elementary, Lindsay Lacrosse. And from Lakeshore High School, Catherine Ferguson and Colleen Stafford.
All right.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion by Mr. Denzler, supported by Mrs. DeLong. Any comments or questions?
Congratulations to the teachers that have earned their tenure.
We're gonna vote. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Denzler.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. DeLong. Aye. Mrs. Bardo.
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August. Aye. And Mr. Collins.
Aye.
All right, and yes, congratulations to the teachers that have earned tenure. I had an old boss that really liked to talk about trial by fire. that came to mind as I was reading my board packet. I know tenure is not about a single year, but this was certainly a doozy of a year to wrap up attaining tenure. So congratulations. All right, agenda item 60, Dr. Lewis.
This is a motion to ratify the Lakeshore Federation of Support Staff tentative agreement with the board. Recommended that the Lakeshore Board of Education approve the tentative agreement with the Lakeshore Federation of Support Staff, Local 1217, on Thursday, June 24th, 2021. A tentative agreement was reached with the Board of Education and the Lakeshore Federation of Support Staff. The Lakeshore Federation Support Staff negotiation team presented the TA to their membership yesterday, and the agreement was approved by their membership. Yes. That's all I have.
All right. Motion, please.
Support.
All right. Motion by Mrs. DeLong, supported by Mr. Colling. Anyone with questions?
Joe or George, would you just give us just a high-level overview of some of the major points of the changes in the tentative agreement?
Sure, I can do that. Well, we'd like to begin with what we consider to be the most significant portion of this agreement is, once again, we've reached another tentative agreement or an agreement with our bargaining units that would show that our employees would realize during the term of this agreement the highest pay that they've received while they've been in Lakeshore. We have raised the beginning step of the salary schedule to remain more competitive with other school districts and just in general in the marketplace. We're going to see step movement throughout the duration of the contract. It is a 3-year contract. There are some other pieces in the contract, such as additional compensation for those who are in the support staff that are either retired police, EMS, or nurses. We have additional increments of pay for some of our special education staff that serve our most vulnerable students. We also have agreed to an experience pay increment. We have members of our support staff that have been serving our students for more than 25 years. 25 years. a day in and day out. So this this contract acknowledges their service as well as teachers or support staff members that have been employed with Lakeshore for more than 10 years. And that makes up over half of the membership within the unit have remained working in our cafeterias and school-age childcare as teacher aides and as special ed aides. And in addition to that, there are some off-schedule payments that will go to all members of the unit at Christmas of 2021 for those who were employed this year, and there are off-schedule payments in year 2 and 3 as just a small acknowledgement of the big role that these individuals play in our district. So we're very proud to bring this to you for your approval.
Thank you, and I'd just like to express my thanks to the negotiating team on the administration side and the negotiating team on the support staff side. I think we're very fortunate to be able to, get tentative agreements as quickly as we've gotten them, and I think that's a testament to just the positive attitudes that everyone's bringing to the table of trying to work out a solution that is fiscally responsible, but also just supports our staff and helps to acknowledge all their hard work. So I just thank you to everyone that put in work on negotiating this. It seems like a great contract. Thanks for that explanation.
All right, I would have echoed Mr. Densler's comments, so I will not. I think that the board would support those comments as a whole. All right, roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Thomas August.
Aye.
Mr. Densler.
Aye.
Mrs. Long.
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger. Aye. And Mr. Colling.
Aye.
All right, agenda item 6E is a public hearing for truth in taxation. And so we officially open a hearing for the topic of truth in taxation. I know it's interesting. It's appropriate. What else can we say? Do we have anyone here that wants to speak to the topic of truth in taxation? There was a public notice that was put out in the newspaper. So anybody here for that purpose can approach the podium.
Not everyone.
All right, then I will be official again and say the hearing is closed. All right, and our next agenda item is 6F, the 2021 tax rate request by Mr. Basili.
Okay, so this is a 2021 tax rate request, aka Form L4029. Recommendation is a move to approve the tax rate millage request for the upcoming school year. Based upon the information provided by Macomb County Equalization, operating millage rate shall be 17.7706 mils on non-homestead property. That's below 18 mils due to the Headley millage reduction factor that kicks in when we have increases in commercial property as we do right now in this current environment. Also on the L4029 is the debt rate of 7.0 mils, which has been the same for several years. This is an annual document required by the state, and the form L4029 basically asks the city of St. Clair Shores to levy and collect our summer school property taxes. The operating mills will bring home about $2.3 million in general fund revenue. The debt mills will bring in about $4.2 million in debt fund revenue to pay principal and interest on our debt. So recommendation is to approve the tax rate request.
Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Collins, supported by Mrs. DeLong. And I will lead first with a question or a comment. So the non-homestead property tax, non-homestead, just if you explain, just in case people don't know what that is. And then my comment was that it's very, very close to last year's rate.
Yeah, so non-homestead is your business and commercial properties, not your homes, not your principal residence. And the 17.7706 is just below the 17.992 that was prior year. So we had the Headley millage kick in the last couple of years with our property values increasing, which is good, but we take a slight reduction in the millage. So
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with comments or questions? All right, there being none, we'll go again with the roll call vote.
I believe Ms. Hallinan would like to know who let.
And I'm now concerned about the dogs. Sorry, I couldn't get the roll call quicker. Mrs. Kalan. Aye. Mr. Densler.
Aye.
Mr. Collins.
Aye.
Mrs. Munter. Aye. Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
And Mrs. Thomas August.
All right. Agenda item 6G, final budget amendments. Again, Mr. Vasili.
Okay, so this is the 2020-21 June budget amendment as we have it up on the screen. So I'm assuming everyone can see it in their laptops here. So this is the final amendment of the fiscal year. We had a first amendment back in February. So what we're doing is basically revising our budget figures for new information. The columns that are across here are 6 of them. So let me explain the first column here on the left.
Do you mind zooming in on that just a smidge for the presentation?
You want it expanded?
Yeah, just if you could, just zoom in a little.
Okay, let's see here.
To the right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I mean, that's a little too much. Tell me how much you.
That's good for me.
Is that good?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, the far left here, the 2019-20 actuals, which are audited by Plant Moran. The second column here is our original 2021 budget that we adopted back in June of 2020. The third column is the First Amendment back in February. Column 4 is what you're voting on today, the June amendment. Column 5 is our original proposed budget for next year, which I'll get to in the next segment. And column 6 is the difference between column 5 and column 4. So between the original proposed and the final June amendment. So big picture wise, we see here, if we go to the bottom of columns 3 and 4. So back in February, we had budgeted a net loss of $195,000. We revised that to a net income of $794,000 as of this amendment for the following reasons. So that's a positive variance of $990,000, which is good. The reason we had that variance is 4 different parts. The first part is we realized $386,000 of state aid equalization funds that we received in May to help cover excess corona relief virus monies that we did not have to pay for expenses. So we got the $1.2 million in CRF funding early in the year, but we had expenses above that, which we could not cover. So when they released the $386,000, we were able to cover that revenue, so we could recognize that. We also had ESSERS 2 money, which was released just a couple of weeks ago for $492,000, $150,000 of which went to cover those excess CRF expenditures also. Also during the year, we had MEPSRS reimbursement formula done by the state. There was an allocation correction, formula correction at the state level. Some districts benefited, some districts did not. We were one of the lucky ones that did benefit, so we got an increase of about $300,000 because of that. And the final piece of the $990,000 improvement was the increase in property tax revenue. The local property tax revenue was about $135,000, again, due to the increase in values during the year. So those 4 pieces result in our positive variance of $990,000. If we go to the individual variances here in terms of what changed, there were a few to note here. Local source revenue, which is your property taxes, went from $4,045,000 to $4,193,000, an increase of $147,000, again due to your property tax increases during the year. State source revenue went from 31.3 to 32.093. That's an increase of $700,000. Again, that's basically because that $386,000 state equalization fund monies that we received and the MEPSRS adjustment. And federal source revenue went up 4.2 to 4.7 million, again due to the ESSERS 2 monies that we received in June. On the expenditure side, there were a ton of fluctuations. Go to basic program here. In February, we had budgeted 19.5. In June, we're looking at 19.6, $110,000 increase. Basically, do some extra hazard pay for teachers, some long-term EduStaff subs at the middle school for people on FMLA, and some MEPSRS expense adjustments. School administration, which is your principal office cost, that actually went down a little bit from 2.4 to 2.3 million due to some repositioning of clerical staff that we had made during the year. And then operations and maintenance, 4.2 million went to 4.4 million, an increase of 191,000 due basically to more COVID supplies, equipment, infrastructure was purchased during the year with COVID monies, and also a one-time repair work that was done in the buildings that were let's say more empty or limited in capacity. It was more of an opportunity to kind of get caught up on things we hadn't done before. So at the end of the year, as I said, we're looking at a positive net income of 794,000. And again, if you want to see, if you ask a question, what's behind just the 794 itself? So this year we had $245,000 of ESSERS 1 money that we used to grow our fund balance or supplant versus supplement with programs. We had a one-time categorical Section 11D of $218,000, which was $65 per student that the state gave us to deal with the pandemic. And we had about $300,000 in cost savings from just utilities, fuel, various items from the buildings not being in operation the whole year, and also the MEPSERS reimbursement adjustment. Big picture, if we go down here, which we're all interested in here, is the fund balance percentage. So the budget now is calling for an 11.9% fund balance versus 9.5% that we had back in February. So when we look at 11.9%, that's pretty impressive considering all the financial volatility we've had with everything. And also the fact that we lost 266 students in the last 4 years. Now that includes the current year safe harbor of 62. So we did lose 250 students, but the state only made us recognize loss of 25%, which was 62. So even with that, though, it's still down 266. So if we take that times your foundation allowance, it's $2.3 million. So that's obviously a big hit each year that we lose. Now, some of that is modified by the fact we've had a foundation allowance increase over the last 4 years of about $305. But that only amounts to about $1 million. And that's a 1% increase per year. That goes to cost of living adjustments increases. So it really doesn't do much. It does offset that $2.3 million loss a little bit, but not enough to really make a huge difference. And we also had employee salary and wage increases, healthcare cost increases, retirement increases. So we obviously had weathered a lot of storms here. So to be at 11.9% is pretty impressive. And our high water mark in the last 5 years was back in 2017 when we were at 12.5%. So we've really maintained a pretty healthy fund balance overall. So big picture wise, that's it. Now, I don't have the other funds were in your board packet, so I'm not going to go into those unless you want me to, but that's all I had for general fund.
Okay, and we'll hold off if people have questions on the other funds. We can do it that way. So do we have the motion for that?
Support.
All right, and a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. Thomas August.
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong.
Aye.
Mr. Colling.
Aye.
And Mr. Gensler.
All right. And 6H is the budget adoption for 21-22. Again, Mr. Basili.
Okay, so this will be column 5 over here. This is our adopted original budget for the 2021-22 school year. So before I get into the numbers, we made 9 major assumptions when we created the budget. The first one being the per pupil foundation allowance increase. The assumption was $100 per student based on the range between the executive branch, the House, and the Senate, which was from 80 to 140. So we went with 100. We also went with the assumption of the elimination of the Section 11D categorical, the one-time categorical of $65 per student. That's pretty much agreed amongst all 3 branches. The elephant in the room, obviously, is a student count. So we went with a loss of 75 students compared to 2019-20. And that equals the international program students, the number of students that we are not expecting back this coming year. The expectation is that we will return most of the students that we had lost for now. And we also have an assumption of no safe harbor super blend that, as we had in previous years. It looks there's still some negotiation. There could be some movement in there. And the important part of that is if we don't get all of our students back, this saves us a lot of money if we do have to. You have the safe harbor, and if we do have to recognize more of a student loss than 75. We also have salary and wage increases for all district employees baked into the budget. Healthcare caps increased 3.7%, so that'll be an increase in expense for healthcare premiums. We also have in this budget ESSERS 2. This is the other 57% portion that was not released. That $492,000 was the 43% portion. This is the 57% portion, which is $637,000. And the decision on that one is whether we're going to use that to grow our fund balance or create new programs for learning recovery and credit recovery and so forth. We also have the assumption that the international program will continue to be suspended for this fiscal year, barring something very unforeseen and dramatic in the next few weeks. That's highly unlikely to return this year. And also basically return to normal in terms of in-person operations, in terms of the costs and revenues that we'll realize. Obviously, the wild cards are significant. ESSERS 3, which is still out there looming, is initial allocation of $2.5 million for the district. It has not been released yet. It was approved at the federal level, but the legislature still has to release that. We're still a ways away, and the question is if that's going to be any more restrictive than what we have with ESSERS 2, and whether we're going to decide to use that for supplement or supplant versus building up our general fund or creating new programs. Obviously, student count is always a huge variable with everything. So we'll know that in the fall of 2021. The safe harbor super blend would be a help if we can get that, if the legislature can agree on that. And then, it's a wild card in terms of a return to normal activity in terms of revenues such as SAC revenues. And, we did have some extra cost that we'll likely have to incur now with the buildings having to reopen. So going to the far right, just in terms of major expense or revenue fluctuations. So here we see in revenues, local source revenue scheduled to increase $338,000 due to the return of the SAC program in full and property tax revenue increases. State source revenue, which is a $244,000, expected to decline because of the loss of that one-time categorical of $65 per student. Federal programs initially here is expected to decrease $1.5 million. That's due to the CRF money. That was $1.2 million of one-time money that we had last year. Again, that will change dramatically if and when we recognize the ESSERS 3, but we cannot recognize that revenue until it's released by the state. So that will probably change. On the expenditure side, we don't have as many significant fluctuations. So we have an increase in basic program expenditures, which is our elementary, middle school, high school costs, teacher salaries, basically due to teachers' compensation increases. And then we go down here further to the operations and maintenance. That's expected to decline $277,000 due to the fact that last year we had so many one-time COVID expenditures for infrastructure and supplies and so forth. And then we're going to have central costs going down slightly, $286,000. Central cost is made up of HR and technology. We had some technology grants in the prior year totaling about $200,000. There were one-time money. Again, it was one-time expenditures passed through here. And community services expected to decline about $266,000 because of the Shores Child Care Program, which we had in the general fund last year to match up with CRF revenue. This year, it's moved over to adult ed for now, and we'll see what we do with the ESSERS 3 money in the meantime. So big picture-wise, again, we go down to fund balance, and despite the fact that we're expecting a net loss of $315,000, we're still at a solid 11.2% fund balance. So we're still doing good despite the changes and variations. And again, the huge wild card is the ESSERS 3, which is a significant pot of money and potentially other pots of money coming down the pike. So again, I can get into other funds if you'd like, but that's the crux of the general fund.
All right. Motion, please.
So moved. Support.
All right. Motion by Mr. Densler, support by Mr. Colling. Questions? Okay. There being no questions, I do just want to make a comment on both of these agenda items to thank you in your department for addressing, obviously, the finance department always has a lot of work on their plate. The finance department through COVID a whole different year. So certainly just want to recognize you and your staff for stepping up to the demands of not just how we had to respond to COVID, but all of the regulation that came along with that. So thank you very much. I know that was a lot of work.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mr. Densler,
Aye.
and Mr. Colling.
Aye.
All right. Thank you again. Agenda item 6I, resolution designating district improvement team as the appointed committee to review and recommend professional development for the district provided professional requirements for instructional minutes. Ms. Weinkoop.
Sorry, I turned that up too quick. Thank you. I recommend to approve the resolution designating our district improvement team as the appointed committee to review and recommend PD for the required district-provided professional development requirements for instructional minutes.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Support.
Mrs. DeLong and Mr. Densler. Any comments or questions?
There are a lot of big words in this agenda. Could you break it down a little bit as to exactly what the responsibilities of this are and what the requirements are that we're trying to meet?
Yes. So if you remember, right before pandemic hit, the legislature passed some laws that allowed us to use professional development time for instructional minutes again that had been undone for many, many years. And so there's a list of criteria for us to use those minutes for PD. This is the first year we're being audited from pupil accounting for that. And so there's clarification about what they need of actual documentation for that. So this is to clarify and have the official board approved minutes showing that we've approved this. So there are requirements of who is in there. It's not all of our district provided professional developments. It's only a particular number of hours. So it's the equivalent of 2 of the 6 days that we use. And it's supposed to be reviewed. Essentially, it should align to continuous improvement, including that you have a representation of staff who recommends and sees that. So in our district continuous improvement committees, we have other staff that participates. It's not just teachers, and they really are who makes up our district curriculum council, who really does all of that work anyway. So instead of recommending a separate committee, this is just in recognition that the procedures that we already have in place and the policies and the people doing the work are already a committee, and you're recognizing them as such.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. No additional comments. Ms. Munger?
Mrs. Bartle,
Aye.
Mrs. Munger, aye. Mrs. DeLong,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler, Mr. Densler,
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August,
Aye.
and Mr. Colling.
Aye.
All right. Agenda item 6J, course edition at Kennedy Middle School for Intro to Leadership. Ms. Weinkoop.
It's better at timing that time. Thank you. Recommending the approval of the course edition of Intro to Leadership at Kennedy Middle School. This course is aligned, as is the next one we'll discuss, with courses that are already approved at the high school. They have felt in working between the high school and middle school and vertical alignment that students having some access to introductory material will only grow the leadership capabilities, especially as we look at supporting social and emotional learning next year and some of the challenges. And to meet our portrait of a graduate, this came as teacher recommendation, and the middle school and high school worked together to make sure that they were aligned and not competing with one another for courses.
All right. Motion, please.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. DeLong, supported by Mr. Colling. Any comments or questions?
I had a couple questions. What grades at the middle school would this be geared toward? And is it going to be an elective type course or?
Great questions. Yes.
Elective course. and it would be geared towards 8th grade, but it's not limited to 8th grade. We try and allow some flexibility with that. We don't see the 6th grade at this time going into a leadership class, although in the future that could be, but we would start out with 6th grade. And again, we already have programs for our students where they put a lot of time and effort into some leadership and mentoring. And this is a way to involve more students and really build capacity for the types of leadership that they're already being asked to do. Did I answer both of your questions? Okay.
All right. There being no other questions, Ms. Munger.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger. Aye. Mr. Denzler.
Aye.
Mr. Colley.
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August.
Aye.
And Mrs. DeLong.
Aye.
All right. I know where I want to be. I just can't make my screen go there. Okay. Agenda item 6K, course edition at Kennedy Middle School, Intro to Geographic Information Systems, Ms. Weinkoop.
Thank you. I recommend the approval of the addition to the Intro to Geographic Information Systems, GIS, course at Kennedy Middle School, similar to the Introduction to Leadership. They are basing this on what was already approved for the high school and then limiting the content to what is appropriate as an introduction for our middle school students and hoping to grow the interest into our courses that include the GIS at the high school.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion by Mr. Denzler, support by Ms. Munger. Josh, I know you love this topic. You must have something.
Oh.
Can't go away without
Nerd
having a
out
question.
Right now. I don't have a question because I'm probably the only person at the table that's ever used the ArcGIS software. But as your resident utility employee and nerd, this is cool. I just want to say that for those that don't know, the use of geographic information systems is actually really important. It's used a lot in utilities and in government. It's a very practical skill, and it is a highly paying skill. It is a really practical skill that our students, if they know how to do well, can go out and secure a great job at a wonderful company like DTE Energy. And I have seen in the last couple of months, I see postings for GIS work all the time. So it's in demand, it's real, it's practical, and as our world gets more data and computer driven, these type of real world skills with real world systems are just only going to help make our kids that much more successful as professionals when they get out there beyond our walls. So I'm really excited for this. I'm sure Jane Feldman is doing a tap in that we have at the middle school now. And just really excited to see this year. I'll stop nerding out now because I know this is relevant to our decision, but I'm excited.
I always appreciate a good nerd out and go to a course description, so thank you.
Anyone else? All right, a roll call vote.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mrs. DeLong.
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas August.
Aye.
Mrs. Munger. Aye. Mr. Ziegler. Mr. Colley.
Aye.
Save the most exciting for last, Mr. Denzler.
Aye.
All right, agenda item 6L, Michigan High School Athletic Association Membership Resolution, Dr. DePonio.
Thank you. Move to approve the resolution for Lakeshore High School and Kennedy Middle School participation in the Michigan High School Athletic Association from August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion by Mrs. DeLong, supported by Ms. Munger. Any comments, questions?
Joe, could you just give us a quick overview of like our experience with MHSAA and just kind of the reasoning why we stick with them year after year?
Well, without it, our kids wouldn't be able to compete. We'd have to, I guess, look for independent schools to compete against. Yeah. Of course, they're the governing body over high school athletics and middle school athletics for the state of Michigan. So this is an annual item, but again, without our membership in that, students like Danny DeCrute wouldn't be able to win a state championship. So we certainly would suggest, that we pass this resolution.
And I would just add that this particular year, of course, gave them an opportunity to be advocates for our student athletes and get, athletes back in the gyms, fields, and so forth. So
This is my nerding out.
it's your moment. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Bartle.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler. Mr. Colling.
Aye.
Mrs. Thomas-August.
Aye.
Mr. Denzler. Mrs. Munger. Aye. Did I get everybody?
No.
Who did I miss?
Me.
Oh, Mrs. Coffey. Mrs. DeLong.
Hi.
We're working hard tonight, Liz. There's been a lot of agenda items tonight.
Computer doesn't like me. I have to go out and go back in so that it changes the.
You need like double screens.
Right,
I
right.
think we all need like double screens.
All right. Agenda item 7A is board commentary. And I didn't actually start the meeting, I don't think. Maybe I did comment, but it's so nice to be back in the boardroom. It's nice to see people in the audience face to face, no masks. I'd say lots of smiles, but I know that, it's been a little bit of a long meeting as far as the number of topics we've had. You're not smiling all the way through the meeting, but we appreciate you being here and we appreciate getting to be here. So, Amy, why don't you go first?
I would like to come to this as my first time today. I just want to say congratulations to the class of 2021 and a huge thank you to Mrs. Ross and whoever was in her team to plan, facilitate, and I forgot what it was called. Jimmy John. Yes, it was really, really nice. And I think both groups of students, both graduation ceremonies were just equally as special. And then the mobile graduations, that was exciting, and you could really tell that the families and the friends of the graduates who had signed up for those were very appreciative of us coming, and it was exciting. And then the last thing I wanted to say was a thank you to Ms. Winku. I've had a lot of parents text at various grades of that I've known throughout the district who are just saying, this is the coolest learning kit for the summer, and they've just really enjoyed it. And I know that even my own daughter, and some of the things in her kit she might not have ever explored during the summer, but it gave her a chance to explore some of the activities in that kit. So, and it has been so long that she had, she was a virtual student. So I just really appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you, but once again, our teacher leaders stepped up to help me create what is appropriate and what our kids needed. So I feel like I get the credit because it comes from our department, but our teachers, as stressed as they were this year, they were the ones that said, this is what our kids need, and took the time to help me identify and get those together.
They did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate it, and so do the parents that I speak to. So good job, teachers. That's it.
All right, let's just go around the room. Mr. Colling.
Sure. Make sure I'm unmuted. There we go. Well, I'll echo all of that, of course, and also say welcome to our new staff and those transitioning into new roles. It's great to see people here back in the audience, be back in the boardroom again after well over a year now. And congratulations and thank you to all of our retirees for your years of service. I know it's been mentioned, but we definitely appreciate you, and we know that you definitely keep in touch. Thank you to Pete and the team for producing another fantastic budget. I know that the Michigan House recently passed an equalization bill that would make the per pupil foundation allowance increase to $8,700, and that would be the same for all school districts across the state. So beyond just obviously shoring up the gap in funding that exists, that is an increase as well. So I would definitely encourage everyone to reach out to state senators to urge them to pass that bill as well and send it to the governor's desk. And of course, urge the governor to support that as well. Last thing I just want to mention, Lakeshore Golf Outing. I know Joe mentioned it earlier, but it was a great event. A little bit hot. I might have sun poisoning today, but besides my own bad golfing and my team's bad golfing, it was a great event. Everyone was definitely really happy to be back together and to be back because we didn't have that event last year, of course, and to raise another $40,000 for the foundation, just about. So a great turnout, and of course, great to support the foundation who supports our teachers and students with so many great things in the classroom. So excited to see a lot of that be put back to good use. with a somewhat normal school year coming up, hopefully. So everybody have a great summer, and thank you.
All right.
Let me, okay. Good evening, everyone. Again, congratulations to those that are retiring. I'm sure it's well earned. And thank you for your years of service, and welcome to all the new hires. And congratulations, Will. I think you're going to be a good fit in that role. Jack, it's good to see you again in person. And I was thinking of you all yesterday. I'm not a golfer, but I did think of you all, and I'm glad that obviously. I'm glad you raised some money, and it's. I'm so excited to be back here in the boardroom. No disrespect to Taylor and the setup we had there, but this just feels like home. And it's just so nice to see people without masks, and it's just great. I'm very excited. So welcome to everybody. Graduation, got a little chilly, but it was nice. I'm hoping, though I appreciate Jimmy John's, I really hope we can be back on the Lakeshore football field next year. It just seems better there, but it was great. And thank you to all my board members for letting me hand out the majority of all the diplomas. I just love that.
We just don't want to catch an elbow while you're
Yeah. Next year there's going to be a lot too. We're losing a lot of bowlers next year, so that's great. And again, I've said this before, but thank you to all the teachers and the administration and everybody for this past school year. I do hope you all get the summer that you deserve this year, because you did not get it last year. And I appreciate everyone's efforts in helping us run and deal with all this during the pandemic. So I hope everyone has a great summer, and that's it for me for now.
All right, Ms. Munger.
I'm kind of teary-eyed.
I'm the mom of a senior.
Thank you, and to the class of 2021. I'm so proud of you, and thank you, Sue, for letting me hand out a few specifics. Especially one for my son. It was an interesting year. He graduated early, so we learned some bumps and bruises with that. But it was a great year of him for learning, and it's always great to be a Shorian. Oh, yeah, you got me started before I even hit
I'm usually the crier.
But it doesn't go without saying that the heart of Lakeshore is the staff, from the teachers to the administration. I was thinking about it on Wednesday, the 26th. We had our Lakeshore night at the park with the concerts in the park. But there was also an event in the afternoon that was set up, took care of. Luncheon for retirees. And then I was like, I couldn't believe how many Shorians were in the park working and visiting. But then it dawned on me, it was prom. Prom was at night too. So, I mean, let alone that was Monday was 2 graduations and all the graduations in between and all the drive-through graduations that we had. I mean, just what the staff does, the family of Lakeshore, it's truly unbelievable. I wanted to say, once a Shorian, always a Shorian, and Shorian life will always go on. It's so adorable to see right across my street, the kindergarten sign in the front lawn, class of 2035, right? Yeah. So Shorian life continues on, and we are so proud to be Shorians, and I hope that family will be just as proud to be Shorians as well. So have a wonderful summer. Use all your packets and enjoy learning, but also enjoy family time, and have a great summer. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Densler.
I don't have too much. I'll just echo a lot of everyone else. welcoming our new staff and bidding farewell to those that have left. Thank you to the foundation for all your hard work. I couldn't be there for the golf outing. I had some other things I had to attend to that weekend. I am very grateful for everyone that participated with that. Graduation, I would do it at Jimmy John's Field every year. I like that, even though there were no sandwiches, and that was very disappointing. There's no Jimmy John's, but it was a great venue. A lot of work went into that. I'll give a special shout out to Rob Cook, who, in addition to that, does 5 gazillion other things. I feel like he runs 3/4 of the clubs and sports, and just he's on everything. But I appreciate the work that he put in helping with that as well, and all of our staff. And I think I'll close with just asking everyone from our staff, our administrators, expressing my appreciation, and take a week off and go lay on a beach. And if you're old enough, have some cocktails, and just don't think about work for as long as you physically do it. I feel like everyone from our students, our teachers, staff, administrators, and my colleagues on the board here, it's been just a hard year for everyone, and especially in education. So you have earned some time off and some rest. And one thing I did want to mention too is kind of similar to Ms. Thomas August says, those packets were really cool. I happened to go into help this time here at the high school, get some stuff organized for distributing them there. And just from having them staged to be distributed the next week, kids kept coming in. Can I have one of those? 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 I was like, can I have one of those? They were really awesome. I think they had some really some actual, some fun activities, some actual hands-on learning in them. But just to see the kid, like, I don't know, when I was in high school, I wasn't excited about school stuff you had to take home over the summer. When professors were emailing me in college over the summer, I was like, go away. But to see us create an experience that is fungicational, that our kids really want to take home and engage with over the summer, was just so cool. So thank you to Rochelle and your team and the team of teachers that did that. From what I could see, the kids were really excited. I think some of them had some fidgety toys that they were already starting to bust out, and I'm sure annoy their teachers with before school was even over. And so just thank you to everyone for your hard work. Take some rest, and we'll see you later.
This is funny because I was talking to Rochelle about this summer program. We were stopped in, and being as old as I am, we used to have this summer program here in our district. There was, you met up at Masonic Heights, and they had crafts, they had some sports, and there was always something going on, okay? And it was great for the community. Of course, there was a lot of kids back then. But I think this is something that we should look into for every summer, whether it's a week-long camp or 2 weeks. But I think it's a great thing for our community, for our kids, especially this year, obviously, with the COVID. But growing up, that was a neat thing for a lot of us kids that didn't have anything to do during the summer. We'd go up to Masonic Heights. That's where ours was. Back when I went to Masonic, there was, I think, 6 or 7 elementary schools. And I think each one did the same thing. So I think that's something to look into. I know the money this year is from the COVID relief, federal funds and state funds. But that's something we can look into doing. I think that'd be great for our kids. Pete, your staff, you guys did a great job. Thank you again for all your hard work. Welcome to all the new staff, and thank you to all the retirees, and hope everybody has a good summer. Well, I was here when we first hired you. My kids loved you, and I think I know they looked up to you. They played football for you, and I know you'll do a great job in this role. Thank you.
All right, my turn. All right, and I'm going to rely on written words for this part just because I want to make sure I say what I intended to say. So very early as a young adult, I envisioned serving All right, we'll do a little redo there. Okay, so early in my adult life, I did envision serving on a board of education. It's been a privilege to serve here and an honor to be reelected, as well as to be chosen by my peers to serve as the president of the board. With a recent job change, it's been increasingly difficult for me to allocate the time that I feel is necessary to fulfill the responsibilities of the office of the president. Therefore, I'm resigning from the office of president, but I believe I can effectively continue to serve as a trustee on the Board of Education, and I do look forward to continuing to serve the community in that capacity. I am proud of the service, commitment, and strengths of this whole board, and know that Mr. Ziegler, as the vice president stepping up, is more than capable to lead us going forward. So I definitely appreciate my time, and I don't know why, but that made me really nervous through this entire meeting. So bear with me again. Moving on, I have just a short moment in time here as the president, and I'm glad that I have a moment to speak to this. So about a year ago, this board, with quite a bit of influence by a former board member, Mike Bukotic, shared a message to our community. And we all took part and shared a piece of that. And it was a little bit of appreciation and hopefully a lot of encouragement at what was the beginning of the pandemic. I'm glad to be in this position and have this moment tonight to thank each and every member of the Lakeshore family for not just getting through this year, but thriving in so many ways despite the challenges. I'm not going to reflect on everything that we've been through, and I'm not going to talk about the challenges ahead, because as Mr. Densler said, we just need a moment to take a break, breathe, live in the moment. So I want to thank and applaud all of you for helping our Lakeshore community on having a very unusual but a very successful school year. And I really would ask you to stand with me. Gosh, why am I emotional? All right, and that really is to each and every member of our community. It was, something else from no matter what perspective you look at, from our students and how they had to step up and cope, our parents, our families, our staff, our leadership, our board members, each and every bit of the community experienced hopefully something like we never experienced again, and we did it Shorian style. So thank you so much, and everyone have a great evening.
Before we move on, can we just recognize Ms. Bartle and her awesome service as board president? I know she hates this. But I'm going to do it anyway. I personally want to thank you for your leadership, and especially through the pandemic. So can we just give Mrs. Bartle a quick round of applause?
Thank you very much, and you do know me well. I am happy to be a behind-the-scenes worker bee and really don't like the center of attention. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that, and everyone have a fabulous evening and a safe and healthy, relaxing summer. We will see you in the fall, but I'm not going to say can't wait for that to happen. Enjoy the summer. All right, take care. And with that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, everybody.